No one seems to be surprised by rings these days. And the number of them too. Fashionistas, following the trends, wear a ring on each finger, or even several. However, phalangeal rings are still considered a novelty. Although this novelty is several centuries old at least. The history of phalangeal rings begins in ancient Egypt. Sources say that Pharaoh Tutankhamun himself wore rings on the second and third phalanges of his finger. In the Middle Ages, wearing rings, including on the phalanges, informed others about the status of the wearer. Moreover, it was an important sign. The hands of the wearer of jewelry are not busy working, he can afford to hire workers for this purpose. The more rings, the more serious the gentleman. At the same time in fashion are rings on the whole finger. But their purpose was not at all decorative. Most of these rings were with a secret, they hid poisonous substances. Since jewelry was the domain of people noble and wealthy, it is possible that phalangeal rings played a role in the elimination of enemies, competitors and other dark deeds. Renaissance phalanx rings were characterized by a special elegance. They still spoke of the status of the wearer. For example, if the ring on the middle phalanx was gold, it belonged to a noble family. And also so emphasized the attractiveness of hands and fingers. If you look carefully at the paintings of famous Renaissance artists, Raphael, Titian and Botticelli, you will definitely see phalangeal rings on the beautiful heroes of the paintings. The surge of interest in phalangeal rings is relatively recent. In the XX century, interesting jewelry was worn by hippies and punks. Later, in the XXI century, the rings appeared in the catwalk collection of Gaultier. After him, rings were inspired by Nicolas Ghesquière. And finally, the fashion houses of Chanel and Lagerfeld. We can say that from this moment phalanx rings began a second life. This jewelry is called a phalanx ring. So, tip rings are worn on the tip of the finger. Midi finger rings are worn on the middle phalanx. The two phalanges are occupied by the long ring. And all finger rings are rings that are worn on all four fingers at once. Thank you for watching.